What's up, friends? Welcome back. This is Todd Strange Stories from the Stage. So glad to be back. It's been a minute. I've had life and singing and comedy and more life and all kinds of stuff. Just got back from Taipei with the Los Angeles Master Chorale and the LA Phil and Gustavo Dudamel performing the Mahler's Second Symphony with amazing, I don't even know what to say. It's probably a top 5 experience in the National Theater in Taipei. I mean, just incredible. Anyway, just got back. That's just a quick brag. But this is it's gonna be a nice episode. We have world-renowned tenor and baritone, both Bryan Hymel and Weston Hurt, both big voices, both fantastic singers. Been around a bit and have incredibly decorated careers, and they've come to talk to me about their crazy stories from the stage. So I'm delighted. I was able to join their podcast Between the Notes and talk about how I try and navigate my career with all my different interests and hobbies, and that I'm trying to convert into my new career or what have you. It was really fun, and they're very nice, very cool. Both of them felt like I made 2 strong singer friends through the process, and very supportive. I think you'll like the episode. So saddle up, join in, and thanks for listening. Take care. This is Bryan Hymel, Weston Hurt, Strange Stories from the Stage. Strange Stories. Sound like Sean Connery. Strange Stories from the Stage. Strange Stories from the Stage with Todd Strange. Enjoy. Not Sean Connery.
Sure.
Sweet.
I do an intro after and just say, okay, this is the conversation I had. So
awesome.
Did
That's
it just
great.
say upgrade? I don't know. Do I have to have upgraded if it's 3 guests? I didn't even know. Is that a thing? I can upgrade it later, I guess. Maybe it'll record this. Fine.
I don't know.
I've never done
I
2
mean,
guests at once.
everything looks fine to me.
Yeah.
No, it's good. It's
Same.
recording. Welcome, guys.
Sweet.
Yeah, thanks so
Hey.
much, man.
2
bud.
incredible artists with me today. I have a Verdi baritone, Weston Hurt, with me. I have an amazing Hilden tenor, Bryan Hymel, with me, and they just agreed to jump onto my podcast after I did theirs. So I am delighted to have you guys as guests. Thank you.
Yeah.
No,
so great
thanks
to
so
be
much
here,
for
bud.
having us, man. It's great.
Yeah.
I mean, we can just continue a chat, really, but this is my podcast. For better, for worse, is called Strange Stories from the Stage.
Uh-huh.
Because I've had so many weird things happen to me on stage, over the years as either a professional, as a student, or whatever. And because for me, it brings me great joy when things go wrong sometimes, and not because it goes wrong, but
Right.
how artists respond to that, and also how they get themselves out of the pickle.
Sure.
It also explains, I also find it explains a lot about you as an artist, of how you get out of something, or if you get out, or if you crumble, or
Yeah.
how,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
you did crumble, because I've crumbled. I've been the
Sure.
guy
Same.
that just says, fuck this, I'm done. The button is popped on that turkey, it's done. I'm
Right.
going to be just in the fetal position for the next 2 hours. But
Right.
how do you come back from that and still get your ass up on the stage and have the courage to make good on that?
Yeah.
It's like, whether it be a vocal thing, I've certainly had that happen.
Right.
That sucks, but it is part of the business that we enter as vocalists primarily, and then actors kind of not second, but in opera, if you can't sing, it's a rough go.
Yeah,
It's like,
sure.
You could be Laurence Olivier. If you can't hit the notes in the role, you're not supposed to be on the opera stage.
That's
I
right.
always say, oh, the acting's important. I'm like, yeah, but it's still, you still have to make a sound.
Right.
You have to it's around that note, and it has to sound pretty good. It's
Absolutely.
I've seen some character tenors get through some stuff that's oof, yeah.
Yeah. No, I
When's
hear
this
you.
scene going to be over? Yeah.
Well,
I've
I made
go
my
ahead.
professional debut in 1997.
Nice.
And have been singing consistently every year since then, whether I
Congrats.
was also in school or whatever. And so throughout that time, there's
That's
definitely...
incredible. That's 28 years, man.
Yeah.
That's
yeah,
incredible.
Yeah.
That's incredible. First of all, yay. Congratulations. That's incredible.
Thanks, man. I
Yeah,
appreciate it.
yeah, that's really amazing.
But now I will say that, there have been some years that have been far more successful than others, but I'm happy to look back on that resume and never see a year that has gone by where there wasn't a handful of things that I was able to do. So that's cool. But my point in even saying that was just to say that there's been a lot of moments on stage where you're like, oh God, oh no, oh, what am I gonna do? And I was talking with Bryan, and actually the story that I want to talk about first was
Can't
this
wait.
moment. It was this moment. They talk a lot about hydrating as a singer. It's important to drink a
Sure.
lot of water and make sure that you're always hydrated. Oftentimes what they don't talk about, we talked a little bit in our podcast that you just were on with us about the educational outreach, cafetoriums, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
I remember doing a show one time where I was singing the role of Figaro in The Barber of Seville. And we get into the space and we're like, oh, how are we going to do this? There's like no space backstage. Like there is
This
no
was an
backstage.
outreach performance. Like
It was an outreach performance.
Yeah.
And the cool thing about this particular production was that in these outreach productions of this particular company, we would actually do a 90-minute version of the actual show. So we were doing Barber of Seville. So I know a lot of companies do like Three Little Pigs, or they do like some kind of children's version of the show. But this was actually the Barber of Seville, just cut down to a 90-minute
Was
version.
it's in English, right?
We would do it in English. That's
Yeah.
exactly right.
Yeah, we did something similar. Yeah.
Yeah. So I remember once we set up the set, we quickly realized, like, okay, well, I guess we're just gonna. You basically just like you were like here, and then you were like, like there was no.
When you say set, do you mean 2 big pieces of folding plywood, or
No, actually.
Okay.
So again, one of the cool things about this particular company was that they built these beautiful sets that were very transportable.
Nice.
That were actually made from, like, if I remember correctly, styrofoam. And then they had these this wonderful artist create these beautiful painted sets. And I'm not joking. Like you step back from it and you're like, that's styrofoam. Like it
Wow,
didn't make
yeah.
any sense.
Yeah.
And so it was easy to carry on from the truck. I mean, we did everything, right? We were
Yeah, of
we were
course. Yeah.
managing our own costumes and wigs and setting up the
Yep.
set and doing the lights
gig.
and
Yep.
the whole thing, right?
Yep.
But anyway, my point is that I was singing the title character and I was hydrating, and we quickly realized there was no backstage. There was nowhere to get anywhere from anything.
Oh no.
And so yeah, so you're literally like you're sucking in your gut so that they don't see your, they don't see you like, what's that? So there was we get through the majority of the show, and at the end of Barber of Seville, when Figaro helps Count and Rosina sort of figure their lives out and how they're going to make the future, Bartolo storms in, right? And he's like, what's going on here? And, when he walked in, I just looked up stage at him and I go, I have to pee and I don't know what I'm going to do. And he's like looking at me like, what? And I'm like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to tell you, man. I don't know where to go. And so I'm like, I'm kind of starting to, and it's like, I remember
Your body's doing things that like you can't
we're like
control now. Yeah.
Yeah, we're like da, 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 and I'm like, and I think Figaro had the first one iteration of that, and then I remember like I go and get God, this was 1990. This was like 1998, I think, or 97. So I'm trying to remember. I think I had to go get Berta, and then Berta sings something, or and so each kind of, and then it goes into the ba 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 ba.
Yep.
Well, I was the title character, and I when I finished, like I saw a staircase at the front of the stage that led down to like the audience, and then I saw a set of double doors. And I mean, by the way, I'm standing there. I'm peeing my pants as I'm singing on stage.
It's going.
And I'm just going. It's going. And so I run down these stairs. I open the doors and I just dropped. Thank God it's a parking lot where no one was.
Oh,
I just dropped
God.
and I did not come back.
Man.
Oh, this was the 90s.
Thank God.
I did not come back. They're like,
holy shit.
we did bows. We had staged
you
bows.
didn't.
I was supposed to take the final bow.
We didn't do a bow.
Nah,
There were no
they're
bows
like,
for you.
he had to go somewhere. I guess.
Like he was great, wasn't he?
Wow.
He was so good. Wow.
Gotta go.
Man.
Gotta go.
Dude, that is
Yeah. Oh my
So yeah,
gosh.
that was Very early on in my career, very, very memorable though, because
But
that's not a good
lesson learned on the
lesson learned.
hydration
Yeah.
balance to function. Yeah.
Sure.
And always learn where the bathrooms are.
That's exactly
before
right.
the show starts.
Unfortunately, I have about 3 or 4 other stories that are similar.
Yeah, I got maybe 3 or 4 for you, but I don't know. You led with that one. It's going to be kind of hard to follow.
I mean, that was a great. That broke the ice really
Woo.
well. That
There we
was
go.
excellent.
What do you got, Brian?
You I want Brian? Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, like kind of
Yeah.
similarly, but
Let me
not
hear.
so bad. So like this is when I was in like junior high or something, right? We were doing Fiddler on the Roof, and I was playing Tevye. And there's that scene where they're doing the prayers for the Sabbath. They're like, "May the Lord protect and defend you." Da, da.
Yeah.
It's really beautiful. It's really
It's gorgeous,
solemn and this kind of stuff. And I walk off the stage because I had a quick change right before it, and I have my white shirt tail sticking out of my fly, which I did not zip up.
Oh
And
no!
so it's like, I'm
you had that the
sure
whole time on
The
stage.
whole time we were doing this prayer, I'm sure half of the audience was like,
Oh, shit.
anyway, but it was fine. I got over it. Another really quick one. Mine are just a little bit quicker. At least these ones are.
No, it's
So-
fine. We have all the time.
Yeah.
in the world, whatever.
When I was a freshman in college, it was like the kind of season of messenger roles. So I was like the little messenger
Aida.
guy in Aida, and I was a little messenger guy in Samson and Dalila for New Orleans.
That's a nice
Opera.
one too.
Yeah.
That's fun.
And so I was getting ready. It's the opening night, and everything had gone really fine. You know, I have my helmet, I got all of my stuff, and I go on there and I sing my little bit. Well, at the opening night, for whatever reason, I had forgotten my helmet in my dressing room.
Oh shit.
And I was standing on the stage, and I probably had 1 minute to run to my dressing room, get my helmet, and come back. Now,
Was it down a
obviously,
flight of steps?
it was all the way on the other side of the stage and up a flight of steps.
Fuck.
So, later I would find out, well, that's what the stage managers are for. You just say, "Hey, I forgot my thing in the dresser. We'll bring it to you." But like, I just was like, I can't mess this up, right? Because the director of that
Also,
show.
Can I put a pin in that? Because
Yeah.
sometimes it is and sometimes it's not. Yeah,
Right.
Oh, well, stage manager would have taken care of that. Yeah, you
Right.
do. But at the end of the day, it's still you.
Yeah.
Right? Usually. It's still
Exactly.
like,
And the
fucking-
director of that show was also the director of my opera program at Loyola University. So
You
I
had to
didn't,
get
I
the-
really
no.
didn't want to let him down.
Get
And this
the
was
helmet.
like the first thing. So what do? I sprint. And I go and I get the helmet and I come back and I make it on time. But I go, "Here's Sacroso, Ethiopia." And so he comes up to me after. He's like, "Oh, you got nervous?" I was like, "Well,
Yeah.
no, actually, I forgot my helmet." And he would have been happier if I would have just
If
said
you
that I
got
was nervous.
Yeah.
But he was like, "You forgot your helmet, and then you didn't need the helmet. You should just go on and sang well." I was like, "Well, nobody told me." So
You're right.
Yeah.
How
but
was
he
I
was
supposed
kind of
to
that
know
kind of old school, kind of like hard ass,
Yeah, he's
kind of
first
dude.
rule of Fight Club. Yeah,
Right.
first rule of Fight Club, sing well. Second rule, whatever else. Yeah.
Exactly. But yeah, those are kind of some early on ones that were there, and I have a couple other crazy ones. But I'll let you go back to Weston for a second while I
Well,
think about the details of this one.
let's say this. I think one of the things that every young singer, like Brian, your point included, right? It's like we worry so much about, oh God, I can't walk on
Right.
stage without my helmet,
Right.
or it's like this idea of oh God, I messed up the blocking, I ruined everything,
Right.
they'll never, and so I think we worry so much about what the audience perceives or doesn't. And I remember I was doing a performance of Sharpless and Madame Butterfly at the old New York City Opera at Lincoln Center.
Oh yeah,
And
I love that place. That
it's a
was
great-
that was the place where you heard all the good singing. And
R.I.P.
back in the
Right,
day,
right,
in
R.I.P.
my
City Opera.
opinion, yeah,
Yeah.
back the
So
old
anyway,
City Opera.
we were doing this Mark Lamos production, and there was this amazing Chinese soprano singing the title character, and it was in the third act, and we were standing there, and I remember just sort of watching. And at this point, this was probably 2008, and I think by that time I had probably sung, I don't know, 6 or 7 productions of Butterfly, so I felt very comfortable with the role.
Right.
But I found myself just sort of caught up in how gorgeous that, this is the moment where she's coming to realize who Kate Pinkerton is, and she's there
Right.
as Pinkerton's new wife, and that they're there to take the child.
Oof.
And
yeah.
it's such a powerful,
It's a
horrible
moment. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
kind of the moment where the audience just kind of like their hearts break,
Right.
and it's
Right.
just that, oh shit.
And
you know?
Sharpless is there trying to say, like, well, think about the benefit of the child. If he were to
Right.
go back, it would be okay. And
It's so brutal.
Yeah.
and as I'm sitting there listening to her kind of make these realizations, I realize I'm like, what do I say next? I could not for the life of me
Oh,
think of the next
fuck,
word.
I
Oh,
hate that
no.
so much.
And
I've
I
been
was
there.
like, and I look over at my friend singing the role of Kate Pinkerton, and I go,
do you know
on stage in English, I go, what do I sing next? You know, I'm trying to not move my lips. I'm like, she looks at me, she's like, what? And I'm like, what the fuck do I say? And she was like, perdonatemi or something. And I'm like, no, that's not it. That's not it.
That's not
And I'm
it.
sitting here, oh God. And I start making noise, and it is
Yeah.
absolute gibberish.
Just total
On
bullshit.
stage at fucking,
Oh my
at the State
God.
Theater. And
Had
I'm
you
like,
done
oh
a
God.
Medicoff, whatever.
No, that's an act one. That's an act one.
I know.
Yeah,
That would be
yeah.
the funniest thing ever, though.
Just to be like,
I just busted out
in
of
America. I don't know, man.
Oh
That's
yeah,
fine. That's
sorry,
fine.
butterfly.
Give a shit.
No, it was so much worse than that, because I literally
Oh, my
was like,
God.
I knew the notes.
Sure.
And I was like,
Oh my God.
Perdonatemi. I
finally
remember
got
that
it.
last part,
You
right?
got it.
And
And that probably
oh
put
my
you
God.
back
And
on
then
track, right? Did that put you back?
well,
after
yeah,
that?
after that, it
Yeah.
was fine. After that, I was
Yeah.
totally fine. And of course, but in my brain, I'm thinking, oh God, they're going to fire me. I'll
Yeah.
never work here again.
Yeah,
This
yeah,
is
yeah,
going to
yeah.
be. And then, of course, after the show, I see Jonathan Pell, who at the time was like the chair of the Richard Tucker Foundation,
Right.
artistic director at Dallas
Yeah.
Opera.
Big
And he's
deal.
like, oh, Weston, bravo, you're so great, blah, blah, blah. And I looked at him, I go, you don't, what? And I'm like, did you notice anything weird about Act 3? And he's like, no, what? You know, of course, he was immediately intrigued
Right,
and like,
right.
what's the gossip? You know, what happened?
What's the
And I'm like,
buzz?
no, yeah. I don't know. I had heard like something happened. I don't know. I didn't see it all because, you know, I
When
don't.
they were filming the magic, I was wondering if it got to the
I
audience.
just, did you notice anything
Uh,
about there? Apparently there was I don't know. Yeah, weird.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
But
That's
that was the
hilarious.
moment that I realized nobody knows. Nobody
Yeah.
knows.
No.
Nobody,
Yeah.
you know, and I love Jonathan Pell to this day. He's a great guy, but I mean, it was just like, okay, if somebody like that didn't notice what I did, okay, I need to give myself a little bit of grace and
Right.
not be so, you know.
Well, yeah, I think we all have to give ourselves grace with that stuff. Like, we're singing in a foreign language. That's, I mean, I know that's the gig, but also just like that, when you're not living in that all the time, things are going to slip. And
Well,
also
I mean, this
when
is
you're
just an
in
absolute
English,
brain fart. I
And in
could
English.
have been.
in English.
Oh yeah, I could have
Yeah.
been in my
I
native
did it-
language doing whatever. You know.
I did it in Flatermouse like 4 nights in a row. One time in college, there was one line, and it was the same line every night. And it was in a trio, and I don't remember what I was singing. I was singing Eisenstein. They needed someone to sing Eisenstein. I was like, yeah, sure. And I just remember I was in the middle of the trio, and, you know, I'm really good with diction, and I'm really fast with like the patter shit. And I was just on my shit. It's like, every time, just like fucking, like, just turned into, you know, like hey, you guys from Goonies
Right.
for like a measure and a half, and then right back on the track. And then every time voice teacher go, oh, what happened there? I was like, fuck, man, I don't know.
I don't
I
know.
was like,
Couldn't
I get to that point, and then I look at my colleagues, and I'm like, this is happening in. It started in Tech Week. I said,
Right.
I don't know if it's going to work itself. It's like a starched wrinkle now. I said,
Right,
I don't know if it's
right.
going to like steam its way out. I said, I have
Right.
no idea. I slowly go over it before. I said, but we're in hour 3 at that point.
Right.
I'm just hoping that it all works at that point. They had not a double cast, so I was 4 nights in a row.
Wow. Yeah.
And so that was our schedule, and they just didn't have covers for us. So like I was singing
Sure.
these big roles like 4 nights in a row.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
by Sunday you're just hurling whatever you got left.
Oh yeah, totally.
In the matinee, you're like 2 p.m. You're like, fuck my life. I was on this stage less than 12 hours ago. You're like singing high B's. You're like, what the hell? I'm glad I'm in my 30s still. Or
Yeah, I
20
know, right? I got a couple of stories about
Please.
forgetting words that are kind of fun. So before I got a gig at the Met, I probably did 4 or 5 auditions, and I went through the competition when I was like 20. I was really young and stuff. But anyway, the point being is that in one of the rehearsal rooms downstairs, I did probably 3 of these before I got finally on the stage audition. But I was singing O Paradis, and so it goes dee, 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 dee,
Yeah.
hey, merveilleux, da, dee, 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 dee. So the guy is playing for me. He goes dee, 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 dee. He's like just tremoling, and I'm like,
Yeah, it's got that.
I can't remember the fucking words. The first line.
The first line of the aria.
The title of the aria.
It's like, well, that's the thing. It's not right because the aria is O Paradis,
Right.
but the first part is Pays merveilleux, which I'm like,
right.
and so I go, and so I look to the pianist, and he says Pays merveilleux. So I go Pays merveilleux, da dee da 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 da. Can't remember the second line either.
Oh shit!
So we stop.
Is it the Met?
Yes, for Jonathan Friend, who was not a big fan of mine to begin with.
So you're already
So
in
I'm like, sorry.
territory in
Yeah.
your mind.
Yeah, can we just try this again? I couldn't remember the second line again. I was just like, he was like, Jonathan was like, why don't you just take a second and go look at the music and collect yourself? Because, I mean, it's ridiculous. I had used, and he knew this because he had seen me sing this aria because there was a time where he was judging everything. Competition in New York.
Yeah, right.
And so he had seen me sing this probably 4 or 5 times. So he knew I knew it. He just also knew that I was super duper nervous.
Where were you? Like sea level stage?
Sea level. Yeah, back there in the one in the back. But anyway, so I did it and it was fine. And in some ways, it was one of the best auditions I ever sang after that. But
once you break the ice, you're like, oh, okay, I don't have to try to pretend like I'm superhuman.
Right. But that honestly, that could go either way too. Some people crumble in that second attempt, but if you have the right endorphins going through you in that moment, and you have performance energy as opposed to, as I call, audition energy.
Right. Oh, I love that.
If you have performance energy, you're like, get out of my fucking way. Let's do this. And that's what happened.
Oh, I love that distinction. Yeah.
Well, because for me, it was performance energy for a long time. Even So I understand that I've had both, and I just that one definitely wins. That's amazing that you flipped the switch on that.
Thankfully, well, for kind of fast forwarding a couple of years to where I was singing Bohème at the Met, and it was a broadcast. It wasn't a movie broadcast, but it was a serious broadcast. And so we get to the aria, and I'm like, "Hey, gelida manina." Again, I knew the notes obviously, and funny enough, not funny enough. I mean, it's totally understandable because there a lot of these websites will live chat while they're listening to
the shit,
and they're like,
won't.
They're like, what the hell's going on? And I was like,
who was prompting?
Right. Yeah. There was no, I don't even remember if there was a prompter for that show or not. But I think, because probably there was, but I mean, I had sung it so many times.
Right.
And
this is not the moment I need to worry about him. That's enough to worry.
I mean, right. And so it totally happened. But yeah, I mean, how many times I had sung that aria? I mean, it's probably my 9th performance of Bohème at the Met.
Right. Yeah.
There was another time, and I think it's probably the only time in Met history, and no names here, that the soprano was having trouble with the high C at the end of Act 1. So it was the only time that the tenor took the high C at the end of Act 1, and the soprano sang the tenor
the
harmony.
Wow.
Yeah. That was something. Those are kind of my Met stories. There's other things like
that's a
real
cool
quick.
Story, though.
Yeah,
that's cool. That's almost like a code aria. Like, I got this. It's almost like a Caruso code aria. It's like, sit down. You're cool. I got this. Let me just smoke a couple of these. We're good. And then I'll sing my high shit at the end. I did have
that's cool. denotion, or what am I trying to say? Okay, so I was singing one of the last shows of Guillaume Tell at the Met
Yeah.
when somebody decided to sprinkle ashes in the pit, the ashes of his dear friend. He wanted to
Riob told me about this.
Yep. And so that actually happened. And it was, I remember the intermission between 3 and 4, which is right before my big, Shayna with the whole,
Yeah.
thing.
You're
And
the
that's the
second
start.
person in that production.
Yeah. And so, yeah, it totally, I remember after 20 minutes and they hadn't called places, I was like, huh, all right, what's going on? But I mean, things happen. The turntable breaks down and they got to fix it or whatever. There's always something. I mean, it's just such a big,
That's a big set too.
yeah,
Right? That's a big
and just
fuck off set. Yeah.
whole enterprise. And so, yeah, but after I start hearing like people being paged, like clearly they're using code. And people being paged to the stage that I've never heard of during intermissions and stuff. And I was like, so we go out to the hallway and I'm like, what is going on? They're like, yeah, I'm not really sure. They kept it really under wraps. And then Peter Gelb just came out and said that, we were not going to be able to finish the show. If you wanted a refund on your ticket, we'll get in touch with you via email or whatever. Just be, very orderly. It didn't want to make big panic, right? Because, people were like, what is this? Anthrax? What is this?
Well, that's what that's what they thought it was, right?
Yeah,
Originally,
right.
they thought it was an anthrax scare.
I was called by a New York City police detective, because the guy who did it was on my backstage list, right? But I had no idea. I didn't know him that well, but I did know him well enough from Dallas that he was in the chorus there, and
right.
Anyway, it was a big thing. But yeah, so yeah, that was I think one of the few times a performance has been canceled mid-run at the Met. There've been other tragedies that have happened during intermission and stuff where they had to cancel the show. But and Rene Barbera was supposed to sing, I think, Barbara Seville that night, and they canceled his show. And
I think that's what it was.
Mess.
Maybe it was Barbara Seville. Maybe she was coming in to do Barbara Seville, and she was
Right.
waiting
Yes.
for the call. And they said, don't come to the Met. There's been like an anthrax scare or whatever.
Right,
and
right.
then, it's just ironic that like she was on the last podcast and talked about this very night through a different lens. She was on my podcast and we had like a long conversation, but she did Cozy with us last season. So she agreed to come on.
Awesome.
And, yeah, she's great.
Super sweet. Yeah.
Yeah, super great. Fantastic voice. She's a great singer, great actor.
Oh yeah.
But like anyway, she's talking about this, and it's just funny that you were in the production while it was happening.
Oh my gosh.
And he was spreading his father's ashes.
It was like a friend, I think. It was like a mentor or something like that.
Yeah.
It was, and it just, and his wish was to be spread in opera houses around the world.
So
and we're like, well, maybe the fountain is a better idea, like out front.
There you go.
Rather than actually in the orchestra pit during a show. No.
Bad idea.
Bad idea.
Has teams come.
Yeah. Anyways, what else you got, Weston?
Well,
you got another one?
Oh, sure. I mean,
Great.
there's tons of stuff. I mean, kind of going off of this idea of like people really just don't pay as much attention to these minute details as we are terrified that they are.
Right.
I was doing an American premiere of a show, Walter Braunfeld's Die Vögel.
Yeah.
Oh, sure. Yeah, the birds. Yeah, Die Vögel's a great.
Are you really familiar with it?
Well, so my wife did one of the bits in the birds when we did it. When James Maestro Collin, James Collin was uncovering all these uncovered voices project things here that was like with Gezeignichten and some of the other wild pieces that we got to do that were really good. Yeah, exactly.
It really is an amazing score.
Did you get to do the Prometheus part?
No, I did Wiedhoff.
Oh, Wiedhoff. That's a
it's a great role.
Yeah, it's a great role. Yeah, no, I've seen it a few times, so it's cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, kudos to you. Yeah, it's kind of like, I've done like 3 different fully staged productions of Die Totestadt, which is hardly ever done. And you're like, where did you do that? Well, where they did it.
Yeah, exactly.
But so anyway, we were doing Die Vögel at the Spoleto USA Festival down in Charleston.
Cool. Yeah.
And Julius Riddell was conducting, and it was such a great cast. Prometheus, in fact, was a friend of mine, Brian Mulligan.
Oh,
Who,
Bryan did it. Bryan did it here.
Okay, yeah.
Bryan Slade. It was
Yeah.
insane. It was like
incredible voice.
What
He
the
has such an
fuck?
incredible.
I was just like, that's butter on butter. I'll take it. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's nice.
Yeah, he and I went to school at the Juilliard Opera Center together, and
Nice.
it was right after we finished there. But anyway, I was the king of the birds, and at the end of the show, all of the birds except for the nightingale die. And so we were on a raked stage.
Yes, it was
Maybe-
if I remember, that rake was pretty extreme. It was
no joke.
Yeah.
And again, I guess I hadn't. Well, this was actually before the New York City Opera. Or no, I'm sorry. This was after, but it was probably let's see, that first Figaro story that I told about not having any kind of backstage area
around that time
to find a bathroom. This was probably 8 years after than that.
All right.
And I was this is a pretty big role at a very prestigious organization at the time, and I was making sure that I was hydrated. And
yeah,
Boomerang's
I'm
back.
dead on stage, and I'm like, I literally go through this mindset of like,
not again.
if I pee, it's gonna go down the rake and go into the pit.
It's terrible. It's so terrible.
I was like, I can't just. What am I gonna do? And so I'm laying there.
Feathers, right? You got the feathers.
I do have the feathers. I had.
Oh
my God. So anyway, I just stood up and walked off stage, right?
Yeah.
And the stage manager goes, "Oh my God, what are you doing?" And I was like, "I have to use the restroom." So I went to use the restroom, and I walked back over there.
No.
And she's like, "I guess go back out."
Yeah.
And so I walked back on stage, and I laid back down.
That is amazing.
I went from being dead, resurrected, came back, died again.
Why did Lazarus get up? He had to piss.
Yes, exactly.
I'm just saying. And I remember at the time, like,
That's funny.
I had a teacher who constantly talked about hydration, and I was just an idiot. I was like, okay, well, I better drink some more water.
Yeah. Oh my God, you're killing me. How do I not know these stories? We've been
I don't know,
for
dude.
so
They're
long.
rather embarrassing. I don't know why I'm telling them about here, but
right.
I mean, I tell you, the again, oh God, I'm gonna get fired. Oh, this is terrible.
Yeah.
No one saw it.
Nope.
And it was baffling to me. How could you not see me stand up and leave? Like, it's like the last part. I'm like,
right.
But I tell you, it's like it really, while it was super embarrassing at the time, moving forward, it has allowed me to have so much relaxation and confidence on stage in knowing that
life goes on.
These things that feel life and death are like, are you kidding me?
Right.
No one could even tell you.
Right.
I think that's more important. I think that's how you come out of it. If you can like embrace your own vulnerability, as a human person, and that comes along with like bodily function and comes with farts and all the things that we laugh at is a vulnerable thing. And that's why we laugh at it. Cause it's like, well, it's embarrassing. It's not something that's common. And because it's not common, it's funny. And it's like a reaction, but like at the same time, it's funny, it's like, and it's okay for it to be funny. And it's okay for in the middle, how many times in a tragic story or in the middle of a funeral or something, somebody will crack a joke and just break it. And it's so like,
thank God you did that.
Thank God, thank God. And so sometimes we need to thank God. And also, it's also interesting, your point, what people's focus is drawn to and what it's not drawn to.
Yeah.
It means they were probably invested in the story in a different way.
Yeah.
They're focused on something different. So it's also it's reflective of our own like weird, not narcissism, but like we're so important that they must have seen everything.
Exactly.
For me, it's like I'm always like
yourself.
so hyper focused on myself because we have to be so perfect. But then it creates kind of this weird narcissism or selfishness that we realize we can let go of because it's like we are part of a bigger working thing. I don't know. the same thing, even at stand-up, when you're the only person on stage, there are things that you think people notice and they don't, or,
Right.
you think your perception of things is all fucked. It's like,
Yeah.
boy, I really sped or, slowed that down. They're like, no, you didn't. You didn't
Oh,
slow
yeah.
that down at all. You didn't take
Yeah.
the time
Right.
living in the
Well, we
silence.
see that too. I mean, all three of us are teachers, and it's like
Yeah.
the student in front of us will say, "Oh God, that was terrible." No, it
No.
wasn't.
Yeah.
No,
It's
right.
like I don't know what you did that you thought was going to be so terrible, but that was
Right.
great.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, I have a couple of more. They're not quite as funny as this, but I mean, it's just like, wow, that actually happened. At Covent Garden when I was doing Les Veuves Siciliennes, the first time that I was there, we had 6 or maybe 8 shows, but in that I had 4 different sopranos because people just kept getting sick and dropping out or couldn't sing it or whatever.
Wow.
And it was just such a mess. I mean, there were times when, it's in French. We were doing it in French. It's originally written in French, but a lot of people do it in Italian, right?
Yeah, a lot of times.
And so there was one show where the rest of us are singing in French and the soprano was singing in Italian. And that happened to me at in Munich as well. We lost Marie.
God.
One of the sopranos got sick, and they had to fly somebody in. And again, the person they found knew it the only person who was available knew it in Italian. I was like, well, this is very Swiss because we have French and Italian and everything. The audience is speaking German, so I mean, it's kind of a funny way. But then
it's like you're Alta Pusteria border or something.
Exactly, right.
Doing a show.
And then there was the one last thing at Covent Garden that I can remember is our soprano got sick, and it was a matinee on a bank holiday, and so she didn't let the people, the opera house know that she was not going to be able to sing to the show, and maybe 3 to 4 hours before the show was to start. And like, they were like, we have nobody, there's no cover. It's pretty standard if there's no cover, then you have to let them at least know the night before, if not 2 nights before, that you're not feeling great and there's a potential that you may have to cancel.
So they can fly somebody in if they need to.
Yeah, exactly. But given that it was bank holiday, and so there was, it's like, a federal holiday over there, and they're like, there's nothing we can do. They asked every soprano, like Maria Agresta was there at the time, but she had not yet sung the role. So the pit?
Anybody from the pit sing it?
Nope. So, well, actually, what they ended up doing, because it's a monster, right? I mean, that role is
it's
killer.
insane.
It's killer.
They don't do it a lot for a reason. Yeah.
And so, so they put the assistant director into the costumes of the soprano, and we did a highlights version of Don Carlo. So we did all of Act 1. No, we did the aria, and then we jumped to, because the 5-act version, we did Act 1 with my aria, and then we jumped to the part where the ghost comes, and then Rodrigo comes, and we do the duet, and then they cut, and then they did like Ebeli's aria, and they did like another thing, anything that didn't have the soprano in the first 3 acts, and then we
ensembles. So how do you?
Yeah, we did the chorus stuff.
Yeah.
We did the auto da fe, and then that was like, okay, basta, that's it. Anybody who wants their money back can get it back. But it was crazy. And my parents had flown over, my sister had flown over to London to see that show, and that's the show they saw. But it was kind of like the Don Carlo show, because it was just like me and all my buddies singing duets, and then the big chorus scene, and then we all went home. We actually all went to the bar, so it was great.
I was gonna say, for a 5-act opera, that went pretty quick. That night, that was the quickest fucking Don Carlo 5-actor you've ever seen. Yeah,
right, exactly.
I saw that in 5 acts at the Met one time with Johann Cotta before.
Sure.
And, that was It was a stunning show.
Yeah, the music is
stunning
amazing.
show.
Well, Bryan, what is the weirdest production you've ever been in? You don't have to name names if you don't want to name names, but like Euro trash, weird.
Euro trash
what
production.
are we doing? Like, what's happening?
I want to know about this. Definitely.
Yeah. Give me some time to think about that. Why don't
you
tell your story?
Do you have one? Do you have one?
God.
Show me. Yeah, give me some sauce on this. I'm curious.
Okay, so at this point in time, I think I've sung 22 productions of Butterfly. And this was a production that we came into I'm going to leave out a lot of names here, but
No,
Right.
and companies and whatnot.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't
of
want
course,
I don't
yeah,
want to
yeah.
incriminate anybody.
The
Yeah.
first thing that happened that I thought was rather odd was that, well, and I mean, let's say maybe not odd, but okay, maybe in the time, like, okay, I noticed that every single person involved in the show, except for me and the Pinkerton, were Asian. The conductor, the director, the Suzuki, the Goro, the Chocho-san, everybody. And I thought, okay, well, I guess, yeah, maybe that's, but then, and I don't know, I was like, all right, fine. So we start the rehearsal
Pinkerton
process.
as well. Pinkerton as well.
Pinkerton was an American. Pinkerton was an
American as well.
American. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
all right.
Um, so we start the rehearsal process, and we start with a game of Zip Zam Zop or whatever
Oh
it's
yeah,
called.
Zip Zap. Yeah, that's an improv
Like
game.
an improv game.
It is an improv game.
I've
used to
never
it.
I've never had this experience before or after. And we're like, well, it's like, the director was like, this is an icebreaker game, and I just thought, what? Like, okay, all right. So we play it. It's fine. It's fun. And then she's like, all right, I want everyone, and this is how we're going to start every rehearsal. We're going to stand in a circle, and we're going to go around the room and talk about whether our needs have been met today.
Oh boy.
And so she would say, okay, Todd, have your needs been met today? And it was like, we were like, what are we doing? We were there to work and to do the show.
Right.
I think the Chocho-san had sung over 150 performances of Chocho-san.
Yeah.
The Goro had sung 21 productions of Goro. The Suzuki had sung at least that many, 18, 19 productions. We are seasoned professionals, but also in these roles, it's okay.
The function of the characters and what they're where they are
right.
in the
And
story.
so we're standing around the room, and we're like, I'm sorry, what? I don't understand what are we what are our needs being met? And she was like, well, like say like you didn't get a very good night's sleep last night and you're now coming to rehearsal. Maybe if you're a little off, it would be helpful for the room to know that your needs hadn't been met. And I just thought, how is that? If you're at that level where if you didn't have a good night's sleep, you're not able to come to a rehearsal and be professional and to
Then you're not a professional.
you're not. You
That's
shouldn't
not
be there in the first
professional.
place.
Yeah,
I just thought
not.
this is the craziest thing. So whatever, we're going around the room. So of course, Weston, have your needs been met? No, they have not been met. Oh, would you like to share? No, I don't feel comfortable sharing. Like I don't even remember. But I just thought it was such a it was just I don't know.
Stupid.
Sometimes things hit you in a way, and you're just like, this is a waste of people's time. I just don't feel like this is a constructive part of a rehearsal that needs to happen. And so, and what ended up happening is that after around rehearsal 3 or 4, the director herself would forget to do it. Like, oh, wait. And of course, I'd be the one. Wait a minute. Aren't we going to stand in a circle and talk about what? Oh, yeah. Quick. Let's just go around the room. Needs been met. And I was just like, isn't this the exact opposite of the whole premise of the idea in the first place?
Yeah.
It was just such a bizarre thing. But,
oh, man.
But even going into the staging of it, she's like, let's have 2 rules here. Nobody can punch anybody in the face, and there's no kissing allowed. But I just want to see what you guys do with this show. And that is how
that was the rules. That was a rules game.
Those were the rules of how to go about staging Madame Butterfly. Man. And I just thought, what a way to allow these people who have sung these roles a million times to
do your job for you.
Totally.
That's exactly.
It was just such a
It's so waiting for Guffman too.
Oh, yeah.
It's like it's so Guffman-y of them just to be like, okay,
let's just see what you guys do. And then what we noticed was that she had created this additional character who walked around with a large notebook, kind of directing everybody. It's like a stage director was a new character,
right,
placed into this world,
right.
And we were like, who is that? And he was wearing like a black turtleneck. It looked very 1980s.
Like he all of a sudden came off of Philip Glass.
Yeah.
And
so it was just, and then like at the end of the opera where Butterfly goes to normally commit suicide,
Yeah,
right?
she
And takes the sword and does the
off herself.
ceremonial.
Yeah.
Um, we were directed, the entire company, all the principals as well as the chorus, come back out on stage and surround her in a semicircle. And she was like, whatever you as the person who you are, if you don't want her to kill yourself, be like, no, don't do it. Or if you do, you're like, yeah, do it. You deserve it. Whatever it was. And then she notices these people. And then the stage director character guy is like, take the knife, do the thing. And she takes the knife and she's like, she looks back at him and she looks at all of us and she throws the knife down on the stage and she takes her wig off. And then she storms off stage. And as she was directing this moment, of course I go,
Did she have to
well,
pee?
well, why would she? No, I didn't have to.
Did she have to pee?
No.
She'll be back.
No,
She'll be back.
no. I said, well, is she going to leave without sorrow, without dolore, without the kid,
Yeah.
And she's like,
Yeah.
oh, yeah, that's a great idea.
Wow.
So you pick up the kid and then you run off stage. And I just thought, this is the craziest version of Madame Butterfly that I've ever
Dude,
done in my
right.
life. It's like she changed the whole ending of the show, which changed the entire dynamic of the piece. And then we had to do talkbacks with the audience afterwards.
Right,
And I will say there were
No.
elements of this production that were some of the most creative and
Right.
sort of inventive. As Butterfly during the third act started learning more information about what was happening with Pinkerton and Kate Pinkerton, the parts of the set would disappear, and so it was like literally her world was crumbling
That's
around
kind
her.
of, I mean, I get it.
That was beautiful. That was amazing.
I think you take big swings like this and hopefully they have something to laugh about their choices too.
I
And
hope so.
They could take the good and the bad from it, because there are always good things about some of these wild swings. And usually I'll come away laughing too. But yeah, it's same thing. It's like the takeaway is I was like, well, there wasn't like there was all shit. There was some good concepts in here, just like didn't quite get it. She just should have ended it with like, were your needs met, Madam Butterfly?
Yeah.
Were your needs met?
Yeah, it was a very interesting. And I will say this, that while the majority of the feedback from the audience was very upset and angry and how dare you touch this masterpiece and da, there were some Asians in the audience and some other females who felt like this was the strongest version of Butterfly that they have ever seen, and it was so much agency and strength that they were able to see. And I think that was obviously the point, right?
It's a fucked up story, so
Of course,
fine,
of
fine,
course,
go
of
ahead
course.
and tweak it a little. It's fine. It's really fucked up. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like,
Sure, but yeah, is it even Madame Butterfly anymore, or is it
Right.
something else?
It's something
right?
different, right?
I mean, they
right.
took Puccini's music and then decided to it's like kind of taking the Mona Lisa and like, I don't know, painting over a corner or something. I don't know. It's just weird. But I mean, I totally get it. And I think we have to, we have to like be open to thinking about these kinds of things. But I think that it can sometimes, the pendulum can go too far, perhaps.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
oh, I totally agree with you.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
whatever. It's art, right? And I think,
Yeah.
I mean, some of the things about art is to piss people off on purpose, right? Some of the things are to make people
Sure.
think outside the box. So,
Right.
So
right.
I don't fault her for it. I'd be happy
Yeah.
to work with her again. It was just,
Yeah.
it was just the way that it was all presented and sort of just like, almost like, yeah, this is how it's going to go. And it was just, the other thing that I do remember is that she insisted on bringing her own production stage manager to the gig. And that production stage manager, and from what I understand, the director herself, they had never done an opera together. They had never worked in an opera.
Well, that's what I
period.
was wondering. Is she a theater director?
I think she comes from the theater
Yeah.
world or something.
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
Because
so-
Go
What I
ahead.
remember is that when we were in the theater and we were being called to stage, she would say, "Can we have the talent on stage, please? The talent to stay."
Boy, that leaves that's a lob. That's such a lob right
That's
there.
a
That's such
lob.
for a punchline. Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Wow.
I know.
don't know.
I just thought, oh, that's interesting. I've
talent.
never been referred to as that.
Talent, please.
Oh my God.
They do that on set a lot. Like I'm finding as I do more like weird acting type, like comedy acting, improv type, they like talent to set. They'll say, "Oh,
Yeah.
talent," and it's not like any offense, but we're just not.
Oh
used
no, of
to
course
it.
not. We're just not
But
used
it's
to
funny.
it.
It's like when you're in a fucking session and you get a Brit in there, and they're like, "Yeah, it's a crotchet," and you're like, and you're not used to semiquaver and crotchet like in the common vernacular. Even it's usually in Italian. It's not even through that lens sometimes. So when you get like a, and you're just like, "Oh yeah, click. Okay, I'm locked in now to what you're saying." But
Sure.
there was this we did during. I was going to share really quick. We did when we did Central Park 5, we were with a theater director, a proper like theater director.
Yeah.
We did fucking 2 to 3 days of table work
Oh wow.
on the script.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I got to my lines as Donald Trump and having to say the lines because I had been working, all I've been doing had just studying comedians doing Trump.
Right.
It's because I had seen all the interviews and stuff, and it kind of got me gooped out after a while. I was like, I can't watch this anymore. The 80s Trump, But when I did the when I did the read through, I was like on the table where this is kind of funny. I was like, one kid called it wilding. I don't know. And I went right into it and I was like, oh, fuck, and I was like, oh, shit, like, am I going to get in trouble? Like, because mind you, the New York Times is in the room. They
Oh, wow.
they
in the
did
room of the
they did a
table read?
45-minute interview with me, which they had there's no reason. The story of the Central Park 5 is not about Donald Trump. But he inserted himself in that. And I kept trying to tell her, I was like, the only reason this character, I understand that maybe that's the reason that the story was brought to life is because of him and through that lens. And that's the reason maybe it is a microcosm for the system that people are using and this story specifically. But like, I don't know, it was like, I just told them during that interview, and I was very careful in that table work session of like how much I shticked it up, with that kind of stuff. Because I was really also just because of the, a lot of my friends were in that show, and amazing singers, probably people you all know too, who are in that show. And we were all very cautious of the story we were trying to tell,
Well,
especially
sure,
given that there was a sitting president that didn't want us to tell it, it was, but yeah, within that, I just thought that was funny. Where you table work, you're like, oh shit, what do I do? I'm Donald Trump. I'll try this for just a little while, and see where it goes. And then you're like, and so I like started it heavy, and I kind of like,
did people look at you like, what are you doing? Or were they like, yeah?
I looked at the director. I was like, do you want, I got this like real kid, like, I'm like, do you want me to do the voice? Like, 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 do you want me to like do the voice? Like, is this why I'm here? Because you've all hired me, and you've all Sharon. He ran the industry for years in L.A. and he and Christine Gierke, they both hired me for this thing, and I'm not a managed singer, so it was kind of one of these weird. But yeah, it was because of the comedic stuff. So I will say, jumping back toward your podcast, and if you ever do any add-ons to those podcasts, but one thing just to like spread out there is doing different shit like this sometimes does bring you back to what the thing you started. Like, I got this gig of singing things, I started singing opera. I got this nice opera gig because I decided to go into comedy.
Right.
And it got me back into the solo path a little bit on a higher level than what I had been doing. Because
that's amazing.
Detroit's a legit company. So it's kind of like, and it was a legit fee that was not used to seeing. I was like, oh, that's what they make. Okay, cool. Or that's on the low end probably because I'm not managed. So it's kind of like, it's probably not a negotiable fee, but that was pretty good. It didn't need to be negotiated. So I was like, all right, that's cool. I'll do it, and I was able to leave town and not lose a bunch of money. That's all that it is now at this age. Just like, can I not lose money doing this?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Anyway, do you have any more stories? I'm so sorry. Yeah,
not at all.
Yeah,
I gotta hop off in about 2 minutes here. But so the trashiest production I can remember was in Germany. I won't say which house it was, but it was Rigoletto, and my costume for Act 1 was like this pink suit that was like furry, like almost like cashmere, but not cashmere, but that kind of like stuff. And like with a leopard print, like vest, waistcoat thing. And then this is where it gets really crazy. Rigoletto looked like Cousin It, but with Mylar. So like that silvery, shiny kind of stuff. And that was his. And the guy who was singing Rigoletto is a big dude, tall, just big guy. And I was just like, what? I literally was like, what the fuck is going on right now? Like, it's like, okay, going. And then he comes out, and you can't even see his face. You could barely, I mean, you could hear him because his voice was big, but he's like,
Was it rattling off the Mylar? Yeah.
And I'm just like, what are we doing? Like, there are literally people in the audience sitting there with a straight face because I can see their faces. And they're watching this like we're
normal.
really,
This is normal.
we're really doing. So then, this is cool, but it was like logistically almost impossible. So Gilda's whole scene with Rigoletto and then with the Duke happens in this, like, it's a bird cage, right? And so the bird cage is maybe 7 feet wide and about 4 feet deep, tiny for
Wow,
two people
that is
to be
really tiny.
singing.
No.
And like we're a good 8 feet off the ground, and you have to climb down a ladder into the bird cage.
What?
And then be like, I was like, as if she doesn't see me, and I'm going to surprise her when I say Tomo. It's like, I'm right here. You just watch me climb down the ladder. And again, I'm in a pink suit. Like, you can't miss me with leopard. Yeah. Anyway,
that's really funny.
That was trashy, not from a production standpoint, but trashy from a costume and just kind of like really off the wall kind of stuff. I mean, I've done Bohèmes where everybody's doing cocaine, and I've done, I've had theater directors. Like the first time we did Guillaume Tell in Munich, it was a theater director. It was it was maybe his second opera he'd ever directed. And he was directing with the CD liner notes. Like, he didn't have a score, no translation.
Oh,
no
man.
whatever. And I was just like, wow. And I mean, it's such a hard role to have someone who's supposed to keep this 4-hour and 15-minute opera on the rails,
and using the Ruth and Thomas Martin version. Yeah,
you just don't. You just kind of don't start with Guillaume Tell, right? You start with something a little bit more straightfortard. But anyway, this is
the tough one out of the gates. Yeah,
yeah,
geez.
dude, totally,
man,
totally.
Choose a cozy or something. Yeah,
right. Well, thanks, fellas. I so appreciate it, Todd. I hate
Thank
that.
you so
I just
much.
didn't know that we were going to go this long, and so I had something
I didn't
else
know
I
you
had to
guys
start
would
at
be
3.
willing to jump on.
Oh, we loved it,
dude. This was
I
great.
fucking loved it. It was
Appreciate
great.
it. This is so fun.
Absolutely.
I'll get this out, and thank you, because it kind of helped invigorate my podcast again and get it going again.
Awesome.
Oh, great.
So because I've kind of been in a lull. I've had a lot of stuff going on where at home and stuff. So it's just been a lot. And so now to get this back going, I'm really excited. So thank you so much.
Awesome,
it
brother.
was such a
Both
pleasure
of
to
you.
talk with you, and good luck on all the things coming up.
All right.
Absolutely. All right. I'll talk to you soon, brother.
All right. Take care. Bye.
Bye.